almost touched. There's three truck battle for the lead as they come up on a couple lap trucks.
Luis is definitely not going to let him in. He'll come in for the second. He's going to take him 3 wide down to the line.
DeWeese tries to go block.
DeWeese quick. And here comes Chris Smith off turn number 4. Wesley Pitbull might have a shot at the win here. Here they come to the line.
Oh, he gets the back.
And Pitbull.
Back on the back bumper of James Ray there, desperate for a win, desperate to get back into the championship.
Oh, he gives him the bumper.
Evan Piet is going to come through to win it. Coots hanging tough. Oh, Jones is loose. He's going to drive up into him. Can Coots hang on to it off the corner? Coots gets it. If it's Tuesday, that means the Apex Energy Series is racing from the Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. We're bringing you live racing action in the Xfinity B-Series car from Daytona International Speedway as we kick off Season 5 of the Slingshot Racing League tonight with the Apex Energy 200. In the heart of Florida, where sun and speed collide, Daytona International Speedway was born. In 1959, this masterpiece emerged from the sands of the beach, an ambitious project to create a haven for racing's titans. The track is so big, engineers had to take into account the curvature of the earth when building it. The banking was made from the dirt dug out from the area that Lake Lloyd now sits. That steep 31-degree banking means these drivers aren't going to be spending a lot of time off the throttle, which is going to lead to high speeds and, Chris, very little room for error. One big mistake tonight can lead to the big one, which has claimed hundreds of cars over the course of Daytona's tenure on the NASCAR schedule. The inaugural Daytona 500 in 1959, won by Lee Petty, marked the beginning of a tradition that would shape NASCAR's legacy. But it was the epic battles of Petty and Pearson, the Silver Fox, that wrote some of racing's most iconic chapters. The 1979 Daytona 500, a battle between Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough, drew a national TV audience, making history and launching NASCAR into the mainstream. And one more thing, speaking of history, did you know that the very first race held at Daytona was a 100-mile sports car race in April of 1959? And guess who won that race? A 13-year-old named Mario Andretti. Chris, it has felt like a long off-season, but it's only been about a month since we finished out Season 4. I just mentioned some iconic names just a moment ago. What are drivers going to have to do tonight to add their name to that prestigious list of former Daytona winners?
Well, one of the stories that we're going to talk about all night tonight is risk versus reward. It's probably the number one story, and that comes down to if you want to decide to get up in the mix early on or if you want to try to play it safe and lay in the back and try to strike at the very end. These drivers are going to have some options laid out before them tonight. This is a huge field of cars, as you mentioned. There'll be about 40 cars here on the track tonight, 80 laps, and there is a stage break tonight. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. Fuel window about 40 to 43 laps. There's a lot in the driver's hands. They're in control of part of their destiny, but most of their destiny is in the hands of Lady Luck and the rest of the field. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Lady Luck is going to be out and about tonight, and she'll rendezvous with some drivers and withhold her company from others, and we'll find out how that's going to shake out here in just a little bit. But we are going to take a quick step away for a Slingshot Racing pre-race tradition quickly with the national anthem, and we'll be right back on the other end to cover some stories to set this race up for all of our viewers watching right now. All right, so we're back at Daytona, getting ready to kick off Season 5 of Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Series. We're going to get the race set up for our viewers tonight with a handful of stories that we can follow throughout the race to kind of track how things are going for our drivers and look at our key race stories. Risk versus reward. Chris, you mentioned it in the opener. These guys are going to have to really weigh this, where do we want to be? Do we want to be up front? Do we want to be in the back? Where's the safe place? Because that final point that we have down there at the bottom, the big one. We mentioned in the opener, it can happen at any time. All it takes is one car getting loose, and we could have 15 cars taken out of the race in just a moment's notice. So, quick opinion, where are you feeling safe if you're racing in this race?
Well, with a field this big, I mean, I guess it depends on what you decide to do. If you're going to qualify, I would just try to stay up near the front. But if qualifying doesn't go well for me, or if I decide not to qualify, I'm just going to ride in the back until they all crash and thin the field out just a little bit. It's not the most fun strategy to take, but if you're thinking about a championship down the road, that's what you want to do. That's what I would want to do, at least.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep an eye on what those drivers choose tonight. And speaking of choices, which lane's going to be fastest? We're going to see at least two wide racing much of the night. We kept our eyes on that during the Sim Racing Concepts preseason clash last week at Daytona, and to me it felt like there was a bit of equality between the lines, but the outside lines probably are where I would want to be. Do you agree with that, or you would prefer to be on the bottom?
I would definitely always prefer to be on the top. I prefer to be on the top late in the race because I feel like that's the lane that's going to move. If I'm just riding, I don't mind being on the bottom because if a wreck happens, I have an escape route. I have somewhere I could possibly go to miss the wreck. But for the most part, I do prefer to be on that top lane when it gets down to it, the last 10 laps of the race.
You mentioned getting down to it at the last 10 laps of the race. That's not the only time that's going to matter tonight, because the first time in Slingshot Racing history, we've got stage points being awarded once throughout each race for the top 10 drivers. It could really potentially shake up the championship and give a lot of drivers lots more opportunity to close the gap on the guys in front of them in the point standings. And tonight, that stage is going to end on lap number 46. So once the top 10 cross the line at the end of lap 46, points will be awarded for the top 10. So we'll be keeping an eye on how that might influence how guys race towards the end of that stage before that those points are awarded. And lastly, we have for the first time another first in Slingshot Racing League. We've got a team championship. that is going to be awarded at the end of the season. Drivers will accrue points for their team over the course of the season. We're definitely going to see teamwork play an influence tonight, Chris. Drivers are going to be pushing each other. When does teamwork go out the window here in a race at a racetrack like Daytona?
I think that you can work with each other all the way until the very end, and when it comes down to it on the last lap, everybody wants to win. If you're in a side-by-side situation with maybe somebody else that's not on your team, you might be willing to push your teammate to the win. But if you have a chance and it's not going to ruin both of your races, I think that you don't have any friends on the last lap, depending on what agreements you made beforehand. So it'll be interesting to see what types of relationships and friendships might go out the window on the last lap.
Hey, we'll be keeping an eye on it tonight, but to get things set up, qualifying just finished, we're going to go ahead and jump to the grid to find out who's starting where tonight. And before we do that, I want to say we appreciate everyone on YouTube, Twitch, and our Facebook. Already got a lot of folks in the chat: Patrick O'Toole, Lily King, David Burns, Will S., Don Hilbrans, Cam. We appreciate all y'all jumping here to support your favorite drivers tonight. So looks like on the pole, the Evan Pienta Pole Award winner, who's going to be entered in to a drawing to get a free paint scheme from our graphic designer Evan Pienta. The driver with the most poles this season will get that award. And tonight, kicking off things right, Randy Bechtel in the 51 is your pole sitter. Scotty Sobczak, not too much slower than him on the outside of row 1, starting second. Third is Steve Karosik. Really strong run for Steve last week in the Clash. Chris will be keeping an eye on him. Johnny Rapp starting fourth. Hey, Johnny Rapp, 6 starts at Daytona in SSRL, 4 top 5s. We'll keep an eye on him. Newcomer Zachary Lima starting 5th. 6th is going to be Jacob Bradley, a familiar face to Slingshot fans. Tony Hilbrand's last season's broadcaster, going to be trading in the mic for the wheel this season, starting 7th. Chris Pierce in that Apex Energy car, going to be starting in 8th position. We'll be keeping an eye on him. Christopher Darling, also strong run in the Clash last week, starting 9th. Evan Pienta starting 10th. John Honecker, newcomer to SSRL, starting 11th in that 49 car. Wesley Pistol in the Tennessee Volunteers orange and white car, going to be starting 12th. And last week's Clash winner, Jeremy Gardner in that 5. Slightly different paint scheme this week, but he's going to be starting in the 13th slot right underneath Jacob Chase in the blue number 43. Patrick Colby in that blue Mustang, going to be starting in 15th. Jeremy Richmond starting in 16th. Rye Jones is going to be starting in the 18th or 17th position, followed by Steve Ulrich in the 18th position. James Danforth in that 88 going to be starting 19th. Brandon Waldrip going to be starting 20th. Cordell Lofgren going to be starting in the 21st position, making his return to Slingshot Racing League this season. Josh Ward, he's put together some strong runs in several seasons with Slingshot Racing. New number for Josh Ward, but a same familiar paint scheme, that blue and neon yellow in the 57 tonight. Chris Blassie starting 23rd. Some good runs we saw towards the end of Season 4 for Chris. Hopefully he can continue that momentum tonight. Ben Keese, 24th. Daniel Rowe going to be starting 25th. Jordan Ives in the 18, 26th. Tony Caputo starting in the 27th slot. Lee Campbell starting 28th, but I don't suspect we'll see him there for long. He'll probably be moving up through the field very quickly. Patrick Piper in the 38 car starting 29th. Chris Campbell was the last driver to take a qualifying time in 30th. Paul Thomas is going to be starting in the number 40 car in 31st. Steve McDonald going to be starting in 32nd in that 6 car. Clint Walker going to be starting 33rd, Ryan Hinkle, 34th. James Ledford, Matt Kuntz, Nick DeCesare, Patrick O'Toole, James Suggs, all opting not to take qualifying laps. They will round out, Chris, this 39-car field. That is a large field, and as you mentioned, that's going to complicate things tonight. Could make a big one even more inevitable, but we're going to have to wait 80 laps to see if that big one happens, and there's going to be a lot of stories along the way. Pace car is going to peel off. Randy Bechtel is going to lead him down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out for the Season 5 of the Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Series season here at Daytona. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 is the top 8 right now. Everyone kind of keeping in order. Jacob Bradley pokes his nose out a little bit there right now, but Randy Bechtel is on the inside, leading them on to the backstretch for the first time tonight. Scotty Sobczak on the outside with a push coming from Johnny Rapp in that 52. Zachary Lima tucked up close behind. Looks like Steve Karosik in the 72, not too far behind. Top 3 going to pull out single file right now through turn 3. Tony Hilbrand's looking to make up some ground underneath the blue and white 80. That inside line lost a lot of momentum coming off the field.
Yeah, it looks like the top right now has got the momentum. You mentioned it, Ellis. Steve Karosik takes the lead, and he's getting a push from the 26 of Zachary Lima as these guys are going to look to take control. I'm going to be curious to watch Karosik here. He did a really nice job last week in the Clash. He led a lot of laps because he was willing to work back and forth between both of the lanes. A lot of people are a little bit unwilling to do that, but Steve Karosik is proven to be a guy that does not mind jumping back and forth between lanes to try to maintain that lead.
Yeah, this has been a strategy we've seen. We saw it in the Daytona, the Coke Zero 400 in real life NASCAR last week, as we see Johnny Rapp jump up to the top of Steve Karosik's teammate, Zach Lima, making it 3 wide. He's got help from his payday teammate of Jacob Bradley right behind them. 3 wide for the lead. Bechtel on the bottom, Karosik in the middle. Johnny Rapp on the outside as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 onto the backstretch here at Daytona. We are on lap number 3 of 80. Randy Bechtel not with a lot of help from Sobczak behind him, but those Payday and Dale Cup cars of Karosik and Lima hanging tough. It looks like they might have the bottom line cleared. They're going to duck down, and they're going to make up some ground here in turn 3 and 4. They're going to clear the top line, Chris. Top 3 jump out clear ahead of Johnny Rapp and Jacob Bradley. What happened? What caused the top line to lose that momentum there so quickly? As we see it gain it right back.
Yeah, and it looked like Lima was trying to jump out in front of Randy Bechtel. Randy Bechtel wanted to get with his teammates, Johnny Rapp and Jacob Bradley. Lima went to go block that move, and it actually gave him the push that he needed to get around Karosik. So, I mean, I think it's just going to be like this all night. You know, if you try to make a move to to block a lane, you might find yourself getting stuck in the middle 3 wide. I'm not seeing anything that's too erratic or too crazy. These guys know that this is a long race. There's a lot of laps left in the race. I think that they know that there's a long ways to go here.
Yes, we see Zachary Lima and Karosik on the inside, that Dale Cup team pushing each other with a Payday team up top. And then you've got Scotty Sobczak, kind of a man on his own, but not really, because he's got his placeholder racing team, Tony Hilbrand's, right behind him, their 4th car on the inside line. Johnny Rapp jumping up a little bit. Jacob Bradley going to cut him a little bit of slack as they head down the backstretch here on lap number 5 of the Apex Energy 200. You see Tony Hilbrand's back there in that number 92 car. Tony, good run going tonight. We've seen Tony have some impressive runs, Chris, at Daytona over his tenure with Slingshot Racing League as we watch him move up into the 4th position, giving his placeholder teammate Scotty Sobczak a good bit of energy on the inside line, pushing Scotty Sobczak out to the lead. He's actually going to lead this lap. But I was looking at some stats before the race, Chris, and I noticed Tony has led 55 laps at Daytona in Slingshot Racing League over the course of 6 starts with us, but he doesn't have any top 5s. So hasn't been able to seal the deal. I talked to him a little bit in pre-race, and he said, yeah, absolutely, I've had terrible luck at Daytona, but hoping tonight with a handful more teammates, he's able to put together kind of a more complete game or complete race, so to speak, as we watch on board there for a moment off the rear onboard of Scotty Sobczak, Chris. So we'll see if that luck improves. We mentioned earlier in the evening, luck can change at a moment's notice. Right now, 6 laps in, we're still double wide throughout the entire field pretty much for the most part. We're riding on board here, I believe, with with Steve Karosik for a moment there in the 72, and you can see just how close these guys are to each other. Oh, crash back in the field, having trouble seeing who it is. It's definitely going to bring out a caution.
Rye Jones is involved.
Tony Caputo, Rye Jones, looks like the 49 of Honecker might have been involved. Jeremy Richmond also in the 98 might have gotten caught up in that. Several cars about 15th to 20th back look like they might have been caught up in that incident here on lap number 7.
Yeah, it looks like Brandon Waldrop and Clint Walker both have some terminal damage, possibly. We're going to go back here and we can see what happens. Rye Jones switching to the top lane right there. Looks like he was going up the middle, and the 98 of Jeremy Richmond looked like he came up on Rye Jones as if he did not know that he was coming up the middle there.
Yeah, I just don't think Richmond was quite ready for that 3 wide move. And we talked about how these cars can dance around just a little bit. Obviously, the 91 looks like the 39 might have gotten some of that. The 50 of Waldrop definitely going to get the worst end of that wreck here on lap number 8 as we watch the live replay. Looking on board.
So this is actually from Clint Walker's perspective, and you get a chance to see how one wreck can turn into many cars wrecked here, as several cars back here at the back who did not have any part in the wreck taking place at the, about middle, in the mid-pack there, wound up getting involved in that.
Yeah, 44 of Patrick O'Toole also caught up in that. And this is the danger. We talk about where is the danger zone. Traditionally, we tend to look at it as being more towards the middle of the pack, right? That's going to be really part of the first area where you start to see the field getting bogged down a little bit. Log jams can kind of multiply around the middle of the pack when drivers kind of off throttle a little bit. As we watch the pace car come into the tri-oval on lap number 8 here, I don't suspect we're going to see any drivers pit at this point. We know that the stage ends on lap number 46 and a fuel window is on 43 laps. So I guess in theory, if you were to pit here, but I think they've missed the pit window if they're going to do it, probably. So
yeah,
no takers on pit road other than the cars that were probably involved in this early incident or guys running at the back. Chris, I think this gives us a great opportunity to give a shout out to our partners at Apex Energy right now and hear from them at a quick ad. We'll be right back on the other end of this break. Thanks for sticking around. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta.
Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics from liveries to...
All right, welcome back to the Apex Energy 200 from Slingshot Racing League. About half a lap away from a restart on lap number 11 of 80. Caution is out for a lap 7 wreck that took out a handful of drivers about middle of the way through the pack. Right now, we are working on some ticker issues. We're going to get those resolved, hopefully in just a minute or two, so everyone can see what lap we are on and where your favorite driver is. It looks like we've got it up and running there. For the time being, just a quick check through the order. Scotty Sobczak is going to be your leader on this restart. Zachary Lima is going to be your leader on the restart. He is gone with the inside line, it looks like. Scotty Sobczak is going to be second. Steve Karosik going to be third, right behind his Dale Cup teammate, Zachary Lina. Tony Hilbrun is going to be fourth. Johnny Rapp is going to be fifth. We're getting set up for the restart here. Pace cars going to peel down, and there are restart zones. So the leader is responsible for taking the green and bringing the field to the green in this blue Geico restart zone. Lima gears it up. Green flag is back out here in the Apex Energy 200. He gets a good push from his teammate Steve Karosik. They're going to bust out in front of Placeholder Racing, Scotty Sobczak, and Tony Hilbrun's Randy Bechtel and Johnny Rapp from Payday Racing. Going to be 5th and 6th as the drivers head down into turn number 1 into lap 11 of 80. Right now, 2x2 up front. Inside, Scotty Sobczak going to get a real big push from the driver of that number 92, Tony Hilbrun's. But right to their outside, Zach Lima and Steve Karosik fighting right back. Payday's Racing's Johnny Rapp and David Bradley looking like, Chris, they wanted to take it 3 wide for a second. They had the momentum, but it faded out just a little bit. Looking like that 52 and 60 might want to jump back down. But as soon as I say that, Rapp gets another run on the outside of Karosik in the 72. Just doesn't quite have the energy behind him that inside middle row, though, do right now, Chris.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner in the number 5, making a lot of really aggressive moves. And how about that paint scheme on that number 5?
I know, a little homage and tribute to Slingshot Racing. We appreciate that. It's good to see that car that started in 13th place, the 5 of Jeremy Gardner, all the way up 8 positions, one of the biggest movers of the race, into right now, scored 5th. On that lap. He's got some help behind him from Randy Bechtel, and it looks like Chris Pierce sitting back there in 9th in the Apex Energy Toyota Supra. Christopher Darlin, the 11, rounding out the top 10. Hey, everyone in the chat right now on YouTube and Twitch, we truly appreciate y'all. Aiden Fritz, Lovely Days, Don Hilbrun's Will S., among others. Let us know, who are you rooting for tonight? What driver you think is going to take home the checkered flag and claim that first victory of the season? Let us know in the chat by just typing the name of that driver. Let's keep that chat going and amp it up just a little bit. Right now, Sobczak is your leader. I know he's got some friends watching. He is being pushed by Tony Hilbrun's, and I think that Tony Hilbrun's is probably being rooted on by Don in the chat right now. Zachary Lima on that outside being pushed by Steve Karosik, fighting right back, Chris. This has been the story pretty much all night long. These leaders haven't found themselves single file that often as we watch on board right now on the rear end of that number 26 looking on to the 72 of Steve Karosik. So these guys are doing a great job keeping it straight up front. I want to take a bit of a look back in the field. Chris, let's draw our attention to 10th place right now. Look at that 85 car, Ben Keast. Ben Keast ran the Season 4 87 Throwback Series with us. And he's got that 85 up into the 10th spot after starting in the 24th position. So Ben did a great job of staying out of trouble early on in that lap 7 caution, and he's found himself in the top 10. Keast, second season driver. Seeing if I can find a little bit of information. Ben out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. His favorite driver is Jeff Gordon. Says he's a slow and steady driver. He has been anything but slow tonight. He's definitely been steady up in the top 10 now on lap number 14. So great job to Ben in the 85. Pack getting a little tighter here, Chris. Several of these cars who might have had a little bit of space about 11th through 20th back have caught up to the back of the 85 and the 65 right now. Chris Darling in 12th position, got Evan Pienta pushing him from behind. And pretty much through the top 20, it is side by side by side, too deep, at least 10 to 12 rows back, Chris. The racing right now, it's making me nervous watching. It's fun to watch, but I can't say I'd want to be in it as a driver.
Yeah, and you might have noticed our ticker's having a little bit of trouble displaying positions 11 through 20 and 21 through 30, so we'll try to keep you guys all up to date on those. Currently, right now, Evan Pienta running in the 14th position right here. Patrick Piper running 15th. Wesley Pistol 16th. Patrick Colby 17th. Steve Ulrich 18th. Tony Caputo 19th. And Josh Ward running in the 20th position. From there on back, we've got Paul Thomas 21st. We got Chris Darling.
That's Christopher Darling. Great save on the backstretch. Everyone stays out of trouble, and he is still running back there. Great save by the number 11 of Christopher Darling.
Yeah, let's go back and see if we can see what happened to him, if he might have been a little bit of contact that turned him around there. Oh, yeah, it looks like Ben Keast and him sort of came together. One was moving down, the other one was moving up. They came together. No harm, no foul, though. He's actually going to hold on to the draft, and everything's just fine. He's got to catch his breath a little bit, maybe.
Trouble. Yeah, I think definitely a bit of a Code Brown moment there for Darling, but great job of hanging on to it. 17 laps in the book here at Daytona, the Apex Energy 200. Ooh, 26 is Zachary Lima and Scotty Sobczak. Get a little bit close for comfort there. Both getting pushed by their teammates up in the lead right now. Lima getting pushed by the Kurosik in 72. Scotty Sobczak in that 81 getting pushed by Tony Hilbrens, and Jeremy Gardner running in the fifth position for car number 5. Car's going through turn number 3, Exton onto the front through the field at some other big movers, Chris. Looks like James Suggs and Nick DeCesare moved up about 15, 16 positions over the course of the race. Those guys started in the back, but I figured Suggs, who can get pretty racy and has shown some speed in kind of the closing weeks of the Apex Energy Throwback Series over the course of the summer. Suggs is having a good run in that number 20 Woo Woo Garage paint scheme, that bright number yellow. That is a creation of Evan Pienta. Did a really good job with that paint scheme tonight. Right now, Suggs running the 23rd position after starting 39th, pretty much tail end of the field tonight. So just in over 18 laps, he's passed just about 18 cars.
Yeah, and what you're seeing right here from, I'm going to guess about Chris Blassie on back. Chris Blassie right now running in the 16th position. Like I say, we'll try to keep everybody up to date on the running order of their favorite driver. These guys right here are just focused on riding. They're not focused on getting up in the midst of this battle. Speaking of the midst of this battle, it is still really tied up at the front as we've got one car, it looks like, about to go a lap down. I think that's the 88 of James Danforth.
88, yeah, Danforth.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage from that wreck earlier, so he's staying high and staying out of the way. And, what we're seeing right now, this is pretty orderly up here at the front. We're not seeing a lot of 3-wide. We're just seeing, a couple of lanes right here. Nobody's doing an insane amount of pinching. Everybody's, they're running pretty close. The second-place cars in both lanes are trying their very best to push their, the person in front of them out in front. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a couple sets of teammates right there. Both Hilbrens and Sobczak, and then Lima and Kurosik. So they're trying their best right now to push their teammate out in front, but they're not getting too carried away. They're not really, focusing really, really hard on, some hard bump drafting.
Yeah, everyone playing it pretty nice right now on lap number 20. Chris, I talked to some drivers in pre-race, and one of the things I heard is kind of multiple times from different drivers was as the fuel burns off in this car, it gets lighter naturally. And what that does to the handling of the car, it frees it up. So there was some concern about getting a little bit squirrely, getting a little bit of sideways through the tri-oval. Drivers are really going to have to be aware of that, especially as the later stages of the race go on. We ride with Tony Hilbrens watching the hollow view onboard camera. You can see just how close these cars are running. You make one wrong move, you get loose to the tri-oval or off the corner. That could be a catastrophic wreck that takes out 10, 15, 20 cars running behind you. So drivers are going to have to watch the handling of this car. Yeah, it's Daytona. We know Daytona to be kind of full throttle maybe not require as much skill, but I can promise you it's going to take some skill as the fuel burns off in these cars. It's going to take some skill to avoid contact, and that's going to negatively upset the car in front of you. So we watch Tony Hilbrins do some bump drafting with his teammate of Scotty Sobczak. Mentioned teams throughout the race. I want to kind of jump back and take a look at F. Scott Motorsports for a second and focus on these guys. Evan Pienta, John Honecker. We mentioned James Danforth maybe struggling a little bit early on. Tony Caputo. Tony is in the 19th position right now after starting in the 27th slot. So he's up 8 positions. Pretty good run in that 42. We saw some speed out of Tony Caputo in our late model Team 53 Summer Shootout Series over the summer. But Tony having a good run right now. He's also out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a Michigan
We got a
drivers out there
crash.
tonight.
Paul Thomas.
Oh, man. Paul Thomas. And who else was that caught up in that?
I believe that was Jeremy Richmond. I think that we'll go back and we'll take a look at it before we start talking about it here. But
Yeah, don't want to speculate.
I think that one of them caught the other one maybe off guard there. I saw it out the corner of my eye. Oh, we missed it a little bit here. We'll rewind here. It looked like Jeremy Richmond was on the outside of Paul Thomas, and it's like I don't know if the 40 didn't know that he was there, or because he's up the track just a little bit here, and there's a little bit of netcode. There's a little bit of netcode involved in that contact.
Yeah, so in theory, that 40 should be able to slide up in front of the 98 of Richmond. But yeah, I do think there was a little bit of net code in there. So Richmond looks like he's going to be okay. I think the 40 got maybe the worst end of that crash.
Yeah, just from seeing it overhead. Yep, and just unfortunately for the 40 of Paul Thomas, I think that his damage is going to be a lot more severe than the 98 of Jeremy Richmond. We'll see if Richmond can carry on here.
Yeah, Richmond kind of been involved in a couple incidents tonight. Lady Luck has not been on his side.
His damage is pretty bad. The 98.
Yeah, that might be the end of his evening. A lot of front end damage on that number 98. There are no quick repairs this season, so drivers are going to have to get that damage repaired in the pits as we look to see if any takers on pit road. I'm not seeing anybody. I think drivers are waiting to see how long they can make it. And Chris, right now, I think you got drivers thinking about making it past the stage break. Oh, we do have several takers further back in the field, though. I think you got several drivers thinking about getting past lap 46. Right now, with the caution laps, saving fuel, these cars are running at slightly slower speeds under caution, obviously. So I think lots of drivers probably going to try to make it to lap 46 and get one of those stage points that's available for the top 10. So we'll see as we watch Wesley Pistol. Several other cars pull off of pit road right now. Lap 24 of 80 in the books right now here at Daytona International Speedway in the Apex Energy Series. Several drivers, and we got some Ben Keast fans in the chat, some Matt Kuntz fans in the chat. Looks like some Tony Hilbrins fans, Tony Caputo. Crowds are showing up tonight, Chris. We appreciate everyone in the chat giving us a little bit of energy here. Glad we got some fans, some drivers slowly building a following right now. Hey, quick run through the order. I know our tickers having some issues. A new follower, we appreciate our new follower here on Facebook. Scotty Sobczak is your leader. Zach Lima is second. Tony Hilbrins third. Steve Karosik fourth. Jeremy Gardner in fifth. Jacob Chase in the 43 in sixth position. Chris, Ben Key started 24th, is up to seventh position. Johnny Rapp eighth. Patrick Colby in that placeholder racing number 9 up to ninth. Jacob Bradley in the payday. Ford is up to 10th. Patrick Piper is up to 11th. Randy Bechtel in 12th. Rye Jones, 13th. Chris Pierce in 14th. Evan Pienta, 15th. Steve Ulrich, 16th. Wesley Pistol, we watched him on pit road, 17th. Tony Caputo, 8th. Lee Campbell, 19th. Chris Blassie in 20th. Running through the rest of the order. 21st is Christopher Darling, 22nd James Suggs, 23rd Matt Kuntz, 24th Nick DeCesare, 25th Dan Rowe, 26th Chris Campbell, 27, John Honecker. 28th, Josh Ward. 29th, James Danforth. 30th is Steve McDonald. 31st, Ryan Hinkle. Jeremy Richmond, Paul Thomas, Cordell Lofgren, Patrick O'Toole, Brandon Waldrop, Clint Walker. All cars that have been involved in incidents tonight, Chris. But looking at several of these cars, trying to get back on the track, trying to get some of this damage repaired as we get ready to go back to green in about three-quarters of a lap or so. So if you're breaking this race down, Chris, we're on lap 25. We're not quite to halfway. It's obviously going to be a one-stop race. Let's talk about what those pit stops might look like in about 15 to 20 laps. Teammates going to be pitting together. What's the benefit of multiple cars pitting with each other?
Well, I think it just depends on, like when the cautions fall. I think that these guys that are up there at the front of the field, I don't think that they suspect they're going to be pitting under green because this, so far it looks like, we have had a couple cautions already and it's just lap 25. But if it is a green flag pit stop, yes, you want to try to come in together and you want to be organized and you want to be able to turn fast laps right before you pit and be able to get organized really fast right out of the pits to turn fast laps then as well. I'm going to be paying really close attention to Wesley Pistol, Tony Caputo, Lee Campbell, some of those guys that just came to pit road. They're thinking that they can possibly go to the end from here. Well, no, I take that back. My math's not very good. They cannot. If they get a lot of cautions, they could, but
And they might, yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on the amount of cautions they get. Right now, though, leaders are coming to the line to restack them. Looks like Scotty Sobczak is going to be your leader as he gets ready to get into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out. Sobczak gets a jump with the help of that black and blue number 92 driven by Tony Hilbrun's. Lap number 25. Hilbrun jumps up to the outside. Yeah, no teamwork here. He's going to try to side draft that number 81 just a little bit. Tony wants to lead a lap. And I'll tell you, we mentioned this earlier, 55 laps led at Daytona, but he hasn't had much success. But as soon as he does that, Tony is going to be on the middle. Let's see if that 81 drops the throttle a little bit and lets the 92 back in line. I don't think he's going to be forgiving. That 81's got the 5 breathing down his neck. Look at those Dale Cup teammates, the 26 and the 72, jump out. Hey, Ben Keast running 4th right now, looking to see if he can suck a draft off that 72 and complete the pass on the 92. He's going to have the number 5 of Jeremy Gardner jump up. He might have some help coming back there. About 3 cars back on the outside, Chris.
Yeah, that was
getting a little dicey up here.
That was really impressive by the 26 and the 72. They generated a lot of momentum, a lot of energy there. As Ben
Jeremy
Keast,
Gardner, be careful, number 85. Keast got the message from his spotter, albeit late. The 85 thought about going up there to block the move. Jeremy Gardner is there. Yep, Jeremy Gardner's there. We'll see if Jacob Chase lets that number 5 back in line. He is not. That 5 is going to drop like a rock unless he's able to find a spot. He took a risky move, and that is the name of the game here at Daytona, Chris. You got to be... Oh, we got a crash back there. Nick DeCesare, Tony Caputo, it looks like back about in the 17th position or so. Several cars going to be involved in this on lap number 27. Christopher Darling might have gotten in that a little bit. Caution is out. That is the 00. That is not what you want to see if you're a Nick DeCesare fans. We watched the replay. That 42 just got loose off the corner. It's going to collect another car as well.
Don't see that often at Daytona. We'll see if we can actually ride on board with Tony Caputo here and see if we can, just ride on board in the car here. See if we can actually look at Tony here. Yeah, it looks like it just got loose on him. You don't see that often here at all. You don't see that often on play tracks. These cars get out from underneath somebody. So, yeah, maybe with the fuel burning off, it's getting a little bit looser. I'm not sure, but yeah, it definitely came around on him.
Gets in there at that last minute. That 02 kind of having a little bit of trouble tonight. He's been involved in at least one more, not going the way he would have hoped there. So that's unfortunate for the 42, for the 00.
6 as well, Steve McDonald
of the race.
Looks like the 18 of Jordan Ives involved, the 6 of Steve McDonald. Yeah, this one took out a lot of people. I hate to see that, along with, like you mentioned, Matt Kuntz and Nick Cesare as well.
Yeah, so right now, caution is out on lap number 28. Quick review of your top 10. Lima, Hilbrins, Karosik, Sobzak, and Keast. Colby, Chase, Piper, Rapp, and Pienta round out the top 10. Right now, not seeing a lot of drivers coming down pit road unless they're running towards the back. We can see some of those cars maybe who had contact earlier on tonight coming down pit road, Chris. Trying to see if I can figure out how many cars haven't been involved in anything over the course of the evening. I'm looking all the way. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. At least 20 cars have been in some sort of incident resulting in an incident point 4+ tonight. So Daytona's kind of proved treacherous. We figured that might be the case in these Xfinity cars. They can get a little bit light as the fuel burns off. So I think maybe we saw a little bit of that from Tony Caputo on this lap number 27 wreck.
Yeah, hate to see that. Hate that we've got a lot of cars with damage this early. We're just approaching lap 30 right here, so hopefully these guys can get it all situated and gathered up, and we can just run some clean laps here and try to click some off. We're coming up closer and closer to that stage break.
Yeah, that stage break coming on lap number 46. And just a reminder, there will not be a caution, but points will be awarded as drivers cross the line at the end of lap 46 to the top 10. Those will be applied to the championship. So drivers probably going to get a little bit more racy as we edge towards lap number 46, just a little bit over halfway tonight. Seeing a lot of drivers a little bit loose. I saw Tony Hilbrins loose a couple times over the course of a couple of runs we've done tonight. Right now, drivers on the front stretch. Pace car coming by. I believe they're probably going to take the one to go this time by. A couple guys want to point out that 77 of Steve Ulrich. Steve is running, I believe. Trying to find out what team Steve is running for this season. I don't know if he has declared a team. Sorry, Steve. He is placeholder. Placeholder Racing. So he's up there with Scotty Sobzak and Tony Hilbrins having a really good run tonight.
And Patrick Colby, and all of them, all of those Fords are right now in the. Looks like they're all in the top 15. So we'll see. We'll see if they can get together. And actually, 3 of them are lined up on the outside there with Hilbrins, Sobzak, and Colby.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see. I think racing is probably going to pick up a little bit here. I know we've had some incidents at the back of the pack, but yeah, Steve Ulrich in that 77 doing a good job tonight. Steve, driver out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His favorite driver is Gary Ballou. I'm a motorsports fan, but I don't know that name. Do you know Gary Ballou?
I do, and there's a really good book about him. I heard about it for the first time on the Dale Jr. download, so I highly recommend it. It's a very interesting story. I'll just put it that way, and I think it's definitely worth checking out.
All right. Well, hey, we've got Steve to thank for that. Steve Ulrich having a good run tonight in the 15th position, up 3 spots on the evening. Right now, about half a lap away from the restart in the Apex Energy 200. We mentioned this track is treacherous tonight, Chris. Handful of cautions so far, kind of winnowing the field a little bit. We'll see if that calms some of the action down, at least with the incidents. But right now, Zachary Lima is scored as your leader. Tony Hilbrins is in second place. Lima is going to be your control car on the restart here on lap number 30. Both of these drivers have help from their teammates behind. Lima is going to wait till that last minute to take the green flag and bring them through the gears at Daytona. We are underway once again in the Slingshot Racing League. Lima is your leader. Karosik second, Hilbrins third. Right now, Chris, for the first time tonight, we've seen the first top 6, at least now 7 cars single file. I think maybe they're like, all right, we've got some cautions out of the way. Let's see if we can get some green flag laps under our belt. soon as I say that, Tony Hilbrun's is going to jump up to the outside of Karosik, though. He was listening. He said, absolutely not. We're racing all the way tonight.
The only problem is that Karosik is really, really close to Lima, and all of Tony Hilbrun's teammates are just a little bit too far away from him to give him the energy, to give him the push that he needs. See how tight Karosik is to the back bumper of Lima. That's keeping him in the lead right there.
Yeah, here come these placeholder guys up behind.
Yeah, they're coming.
The 9 and the 81 are there. Look at Keast in third, now fourth position on the inside, right behind those Dale Cup cars. He's got help from Johnny Rapp on the inside. Keast held a pretty good line here. Going for second place, Chris, he's got help from the 52 on the inside. Evan Pienta lined up, but not really close enough to give the 52 any help, at least for now. And hey, Rye Jones coming back into the picture, Chris. Rye Jones in ninth after getting involved in that initial contact, an initial caution early on in the race in just the first couple laps. Shout out to Rye Jones.
And Ben Keast right here getting a really good push from Johnny Rapp. If he gets to the line right here, might be looking at Ben Keast leading the lap right here, possibly.
Absolutely. Not going to be this one.
Not
going to be this one. Johnny Rapp a little bit loose there as they cross the line. A couple of payday teammates kind of lined up.
Oh, they made contact.
Keast gets into the 26. Can they hang on? Oh, man. Rye Jones is
they fought it for a long time.
Keast. I thought we were going to get away with it there for just a moment. That is the big one. That was the big one on lap number 33. It happened near the front on the front row. Several drivers caught up. I know I saw Johnny Rapp, looks like a Randy Bechtel in the 51 there. Probably going to be able to count more cars who were in it than made it through it. It looks like the 72 and the 26 made it through it. Rye Jones has got damage. Evan Pienta's got damage. Looking at a live replay right now, if we can see what happened. I think that 85 just lost his line a little bit.
Yeah, that's just some tight running right there. The 26 is running really tight on the door of the 85, and they do make a little contact. It's hard to say. If Ben might have been slightly up off the yellow line, but not by much. There also might have been some net code involved in that.
It did look like there was a little net code there as well.
We'll see if we can actually look at this from overhead. It might have been a little bit of net code. They almost saved it for a long time, and then unfortunately, we had several get involved. I'm hoping that none of them are involved too badly. It looks like Rye Jones kept on rolling there with his damage. Evan Pienta with a lot of damage. Hate to see this many cars damaged, this early in the race.
Yeah, we mentioned it. It's just there's a lot of side-by-side racing, and as we mentioned in the opener, high speeds, full throttle. If you make one mistake, these cars can go around, and it's not just going to be a single-car incident with as tight as these packs are running, Chris. So this unfortunately is the nature of super speedway racing, not only in real life, but in iRacing, as we watch lots of cars come down pit road, more cars coming down than pit road than are not. Karosik, Lima, and it looks like Chris Blassie also going to stay out. A couple cars behind him, Jeremy Gardner as well. James Suggs moving his way up into the top 5. But lots of cars hitting pit road right now to either fix, repair. Some guys probably going to come in for fuel. I believe, Chris, we are at the point on lap 35 where, in theory, if we get another caution or two, drivers could make it from this point forward. So I think a lot of these guys, especially the guys who don't have damage from this lap 34 crash, are maybe imagining they're pitting for the last time.
Yeah, very well could be. And, especially with the rash of cautions that we've had, they might be expecting more as well. So, yeah, and I think that, like you said, I think we are in that natural fuel window anyway. So, yeah, that's... We're just, like I said, just about 10 laps away from that stage break, so we'll see what happens here in these 10 laps here before that stage break.
And one thing to mention, we talked about it a little bit at the Clash, but we actually have, my numbers are correct, 14 new drivers in the field, right? So when you take a bunch of guys who have run together for a while and you insert 14 new guys, these guys are still feeling each other out, right? And that can be difficult at a plate race to predict where drivers are going to go. Maybe that you haven't raced around a little bit. So, if the guys up front, maybe had raced around each other a little bit more, maybe they give each other a little bit more room, wider berth. Who knows? But I do think that those 14 new drivers, we're glad to have them, and it's enriching our league. But there's some first race jitters and some kinks that got to get worked out. And these drivers will get used to each other. So Don Hilbrun says the Daytona curse for Tony Hilbrun strikes again. Absolutely. Unfortunately, Tony did get caught up in that lap number 33 wreck. So we're going to add this probably to the list tonight of another non-top 5 for Tony Hilbrun's, unfortunately, after now 4 starts in Slingshot Racing League. Led some more laps tonight, but it's not going to matter for the driver of that number 92. Lights are off on the pace car, Chris. We are about 10 laps away from those stage points being awarded as we watch that 92 chug back around the track. Several drivers, I'm curious to see when we go back green, how these cars who are in this wreck are going to drive, right? Damage is one thing that you can repair, but the engine, if the engine is bogged down, if the engine took on some damage, that might be harder to come back from.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to go back and look at right there, was to see, how bad the damage was throughout the field there. So, yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of guys who were in that wreck, but, maybe their damage is enough where they can sort of hang on to the draft. Maybe they got some damage repaired just then, but they still have a little bit more, possibly left. I always try to weigh this, like a risk versus reward thing whenever I'm here at Daytona. Do I really need to be, running super, super close to somebody on my inside or my outside on, like lap 30 of an 80-lap race? Those are the types of things that I try to think about, that I try to weigh and, try to be around at the end for. So, I think that maybe there's some guys that possibly, when this thing's all said and done, they might look back and they might feel like, yeah, maybe we should have given a little bit more room here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the nature of the beast. We can play armchair quarterback all day, but we aren't in the cars. And I think I'm feeling pretty fortunate for that tonight. But we're getting ready to go back under green on lap number 37, almost to the halfway mark of the season opener for the Apex Energy Series here at Daytona. Karosik and Lima are going to be your leaders as they head into the Geico restart zone. Karosik hits the throttle. He goes. Lima to his outside, probably going to duck underneath these two teammates at Dale Cup. Chris Blassie and Jeremy Gardner side by side there, 3 cars back. Looks like we've got Josh Ward and James Suggs about 4th row, side by side. Jacob Bradley and Dan Rowe back there in 7th and 8th. Wesley Pistol up there sitting in the 9th position as well, with Lee Campbell in 10th. First 2-3 cars. Now we watch Jeremy Gardner push Chris Blassie out front, 3 wide for the lead. The 97 or the 57 is coming on with a head of steam on the outside, pushed by Dan Rowe. But right now, Chris Blassie gets out front with the help of Jeremy Gardner, last week's winner at the Sim Racing Concepts Clash, pushes the number 15 to the lead. Looks like Chris Blassie is going to lead this lap. We got a car going through the grass back there. Let's see if he can hang on to it through the tri-oval. I'm not sure who that is, but he gets it going.
That was Chris
again.
Campbell in the 3.
Yeah, Chris Campbell, masterful job of hanging on to it through the grass and into through the tri-oval. Great job. We remain under green flag.
And attaboy to Ryan Hinkle as well for giving him a chance to save it right there. He cut him a break, gave him a chance to hold on to it, and yeah, we stay green like you said.
Breathing that throttle a little bit right now. Top 12 on the backstretch. Headed now into turn 3. 2x2x2. I don't see a single car, single file here. Chris Blassie pulls up front. He's got about a sheet of papers width between him and Jeremy Gardner right behind him.
Contact.
Suggs and Lima got really loose there between a little bit of contact.
Yeah, it looks like James Suggs was coming up the hill just a little bit on the 26 of Lima. Lima is really, really riding the door of Suggs. And James Suggs looks like he's a little bit loose on the inside. Looks like he's having a hard time keeping it straight down there.
Yeah, I'm noticing the same thing from Jacob Bradley in the 60. Fourth car back on the inside. He's getting a little bit up in the corner. I think the later we go on and run that, we've noticed that happening just a little bit. The 57 to Josh Ward, giving him a little bit of room. We see the number 9 of Patrick Colby jumping up there. Not much happening, not much energy behind him. Tony Hilbrand's his teammate, probably about 3 cars back on the outside line. Right now, your top 12 is double file all the way through. Looks like about 12th position right now. Steve Ulrich in the number pink and blue, or the pink and blue number 77, Chris. Great action going on up here up front. Lap 40, we're about 6 laps away from stage points being awarded. Dale Cup is out in front, but Chris Blassie in that C&L number 15 car is in the lead with Jeremy Gardner, last week's winner, pushing him. Dan Rowe a little bit loose off turn number 2 there. Look at Patrick Colby, seeing if he can get a little bit of a run on Dan Rowe. Not much happening there. 68 of Dan Rowe is going to stay in the 7th position.
Yeah, I know that the stage points are about to be awarded here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're under caution when that happens, because these guys are still driving just as hard, and these cars are moving around just as much as they were before. You know, I'm seeing some guys, it looks like, have decided that they don't want any part of this, and they've decided to back out of the danger zone.
Yep, several guys backed out of the danger zone here just a little bit. I know Wesley Pistol in that number 7 riding back there, giving a wide berth to these leaders, Ulrich, Hilbrands, and going a little bit further back. You've got some other guys like Ryan Jones, Scotty Sobczak, who stayed clean, I believe, most of the day, running back there in the 15th position you mentioned. These guys are waiting, especially as we inch towards lap 46 where those stage points are being awarded. These guys are waiting for something big to happen. Hey, if you're watching in the chat, several of you are watching on YouTube and Twitch, let us know, do we make it to lap 46 and those stage points being awarded without another caution? Daniel B, I think that's Daniel Berg, saying, why is everyone being so aggressive, racing like it's a green-white checkered? Hey, you said it, we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And one person that was a player up here in the middle of this pack and is not anymore is the 60 of Jacob Bradley, and I think that might have been a connection issue.
Yeah. I do not see Jacob Bradley listed right now as being on the track. So I think we've seen that once or twice from Jacob in the past, but you hate to see that. He's going to be a contender this season. You hate to see him face problems early on, first race of the season like this. So that's a shame for the driver, the number 60. He won one of our preseason warm-up races. So contender out early tonight,
no.
but...
Oh, no, we got a slow car here.
Clint Walker. These guys got to be aware. I hate to say it. Green flag is still out. They managed to hang on to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know who I put that on, if I put that on the 02 or the guys coming up behind them.
Yeah, I mean,
got to be aware.
Yeah, I don't. We'll go back and we'll look at it. Usually, if you're a slow car, especially if you're way off the pace, the leaders prefer you to go to the top lane. You know, if Clint might have radioed that he was just going to stay on the bottom, but when the leaders are too wide, staying on the bottom, it's super hard. It's super hard for the field to navigate around them. So, unfortunately, what that has done is it's really broke the pack apart. You've got the front 3 right here, Karosik, Lima, and Rowe up here at the front. And in 4th place, we've got Lee Campbell with basically everybody else that was in that pack.
Yeah, so you got those 3 cars, really big old lead for the Dale Cup cars plus Daniel Rowe here. And yeah, I hate that we're not going to have a closer race probably to lap 46. These guys getting racy behind them. And this is kind of what you would expect here with these cars, Chris, to the outside. Like you were mentioning, these top 3 putting the number 38 of Patrick Piper as well as James Danforth a lap down. Actually, that's not James Danforth. That is James Ledford. My apologies.
Yeah, what these guys need to do right here is they need to get organized. They need to get organized very, very quickly because Those front three right there, and if they do get organized, they can run them down, but that's the problem with what happened there, is it's really broke the pack apart, and hopefully they can get this thing situated right here, because those front three are just getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, they are getting smaller and smaller as we cross over onto lap 46, I believe. We're scoring the score correctly. Lap 46, so it's going to be at the end of this lap that points are awarded to the top 10. Chris Blassie, that first car in the second pack, leading Scotty Sobczak, Tony Hilbrun's, Lee Campbell having a good run there. Lee's a driver who's come on, especially late in Season 4, Chris. He got a new wheel, direct drive wheel, and we can't say enough about how much that seems to improve the performance of Lee Campbell right now, having a great run. I know we probably got some Campbell fans watching. He's sitting in the 5th position right now, so great job on him. These guys, I'm watching these cars get really loose through these corners right now. You can just oh man, it's making me nervous just watching. They are
Daniel
weaving
Rowe
and bobbing.
Daniel Rowe is going to grab second at the line. And that's the race from 4th to 10th right there for those stage points. Daniel Rowe waited the last second, and he grabbed a spot. He stole one from Lima, stole a point from him at the line there. And, oh, boy, as we see Lee Campbell loose right here in the middle
really
of the pack.
Loose. Got on the apron there for a second, and we mentioned that point. Those points can play a crucial role. We've seen the championship come down to just a couple of points on a handful of occasions over the course of 5 seasons of Slingshot Racing. So, great job for Daniel Rowe grabbing that point. Looks like Karosik, Lima, Rowe, Blassie, Sobczak, Hilbrun's, Campbell, Suggs, Jones, and Gardner are going to collect the stage points there on lap number 40.
Oh, and here come the leaders down pit road after the stage points.
It did not take long. They collected their points. Karosik and Lima both coming down pit road. They're satisfied.
Oh, we got trouble. Lee Campbell's around.
Oh, man. Lee Campbell, caution is going to be out. Chris, I think that's going to be a huge benefit to those leaders because they were on pit road when the caution came out. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Lee Campbell here.
Yeah, Karosik and Lima were on pit road, so they should cycle around here. I'm not sure how many people will stay out, but yeah, we'll go back and we'll see what happened to Lee Campbell. Lee was really loose a few times right before this. See him right here in the trial. Oh, it's a little bit of netcode again. It's just a little bit of the 92, the 14. They're kind of both wobbling around just a little bit. And yeah, they come together. Both of them tag the wall right there. Oh man, nice job by Jacob Chase and Steve Ulrich to miss Lee Campbell. We'll see if we can actually ride on board with them right here and see that from their perspective. But yeah, a nice job by everybody to avoid making an accident any bigger. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of wrecks that are, I wouldn't say the sole cause of them is netcode, but we are seeing a lot of netcode tonight, and we're also seeing, a lot of people, it looks like they're having just a really hard time just holding the car straight, just sort of staying in a straight line, and sometimes that can result in some big accidents here at Daytona.
Yeah, no margin for error here at the speeds they're going with the little space between these cars. Right now, lap 49, caution out for Lee Campbell on an incident on the front straightaway. Looks like Patrick Colby in the 9 might have gotten a little damage there as well. Daniel Rowe being scored as your leader after those 2 Dale Cup cars of Karosik and Lima come onto pit road. Chris Blassie second, Scotty Sobczak third, Rye Jones is fourth, Patrick Colby fifth, James Suggs sixth, Jeremy Gardner seventh. Josh Ward in the 57 having a good run tonight, up 14 positions. He is in 8th. And hey, I should mention James Suggs, biggest mover of tonight. He's up 33 positions, Chris. Great run going. We're going to watch a handful of other cars now come down. First opportunity to come down pit road. Dan Rowe, the leader, is going to lead them down. This will be their only stop of the race. I would imagine from this point forward, they're going to go the distance, and they can on the fuel mileage. Several cars, long line of pit road, and this can be difficult right now. Talk about getting up to speed and down to speed correctly on and off pit road, Chris. Errors can happen. I've gotten multiple speeding penalties before. Probably every driver in this race and drivers watching have gotten speeding penalties before. That's going to be something to watch over the course of the season, is how clean drivers can get down pit road, because one mistake, whether it's a pit road speeding violation on entry or exit, could mean the difference between a victory and anything but. So
yeah. And right here up at the front of the field, you're absolutely right. Yeah, speeding on pit road is big detriment here, obviously, especially under green. But up here at the front of the field, just want to give a quick mention. Scotty Sobczak and Jacob Chase both did not pit that time. They came to pit road about 15 laps ago. I think that they
35.
Yeah, I think they believe that with this caution right here that they have reached their number. And they're probably in like ultra save mode right here, both the 81 and the 43, to try to save as much fuel as they possibly can. The only problem with that is once they do restart, they're going to be up here at the front of the field and burning more fuel than anybody else. Steve Karosik and Zachary Lima both came to pit road. As you mentioned, that was a big break for them. I think it was a big break for more than one reason. Obviously, the caution came out, and they're going to, come out right here, right behind these two. So they still have really good track position. They've kept that track position all night. But I think that they were going to be in trouble if it stayed green, because they came by themselves. That big pack was running down those three cars, and that big pack was running side by side right there at the stage, at the stage lap. So I think that shows you just how much faster, a big group of maybe 10 or 15 is, even running side by side, compared to, 2 or 3 running nose to tail in these cars.
Yeah, there's just more energy in that pack that can propel it forward, right? Whether it be the lead car or the car pushing from behind. More cars generally equals more energy. So we'll be keeping an eye on how that plays out over the course of the evening, Chris. Right now, lap 51, lights are going to be out on the pace car. We're just about a little bit less than a lap away from the green. Want to give a couple shout outs tonight. Nick DeCesare, after that incident early on of that 0-0, is up 17 spots. He's in the looks like the 18th position. DeCesare in that 0-0. He's got his very racing teammate Matt Kuntz not far behind him. So they're working on catching up, but if we're looking at both of those cars, some severe damage on the 0-0 and the 13. But they're still out there trucking. Look like a good bit of damage has been repaired on that Sunoco 0-0 car. So
yeah, this is turned into a race of attrition right here, where how much damage can you get fixed, and is your car going to be fast enough to hang with the pack here? And we're looking at right now, just going back through the field, I think I see like 28 cars on the lead lap. So we still got a lot of guys on the lead lap here, and we still got we still got a lot of cars that are in fairly good shape here. So we still got all the ingredients here for a really good finish.
Absolutely. Lots of cars still got a chance. Right now, the cars with the best chance sitting on the front row. Scotty Sobczak in the 81, Jacob Chase in the 43. Chase, the driver that we haven't talked a lot about tonight as we get ready to come to the green flag. Jacob Chase in that number 43, having a really good run. He is up 12 spots on the night, but it's going to be Scotty Sobczak in that white and blue car, going to lead him into the Geico restart zone on lap number 51. Hits that throttle pedal. We are back underway in Daytona in the Apex Energy Series for the Apex Energy 200. Sobczak gets away. Karosik gets away. He's going to jump in front of the 43. The 43's got Lima, Karosik's teammate, right behind. Top four, I was about to say single file, but that 72 is going to jump out as they head through turns 1 and 2. The 72, quite a bit of steam on the outside. Drivers jockeying back and forth, switching positions. Lima's going to jump to the inside. He's going to push Rowe and Sobczak. Three cars on the inside, going by Karosik and Chase on the outside. Car 3 wide out there on the backstretch, headed into 3. James Suggs to the outside. Ryan Jones and Wesley Pistol. Pistol on that inside, that orange and white Tennessee Volunteers car. Now to the inside of Jacob Chase, looking to see if he can grab the 5th spot. Now going for 4th underneath Steve Karosik, who's pushing his teammate now, Zachary Lima, to the outside of Rowe. Lima going to make a hard move there to the inside. He's going to leave Karosik hanging. He's going to jump out to the lead on the inside, Chris. Interesting move, very aggressive move to clear the number 68 of Dan Rowe there.
Yeah, and if I was up here at the front of the field, if I was Dan Rowe, if I was Scotty Sobczak, if I was Wesley Pistol, I would be doing everything I could to try to keep the 72 and the 26 away from each other. That's an aggressive move.
Oh, yes, 72. And the 81 have contact there. Sobczak up to the outside. Now, like you mentioned, Chris, the 72 and the 26 are hooked back up. They've worked well.
We got another caution.
All race. Caution is out. Looks like that might have been Ryan Hinkle in the number 19 car. See if we can find out what happened back there.
Yeah, it looks like several cars involved. Yeah, 3 wide, and he just kind of wanders up the hill a little bit, gets into the 11, and we get several cars involved. Looks like James Ledford in the 48, Paul Thomas, a little bit of damage as well, Matt Kuntz, 13, so unfortunately, and they hit each other again. Unfortunately, that's just a wreck pretty deep in the field right there. Hate to see that, especially with a bunch of cars that are already damaged.
Hey, we do have a Trey Tipton in the chat right now. If you're still watching, Trey, asking about Chris Campbell in the 3. He is running in the 9th position. Good run going for Campbell. He is still in the race on the lead lap. Definitely still in contention for the win. Lots of folks in the chat right now on YouTube. If you are here watching the race on YouTube, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a thing. Helps us grow our channel, get more eyes on the drivers that you are rooting for tonight. Daniel B says, I can't believe after all these wrecks, people are still trying to push 3 wide. Daniel.
Hey, Daniel, we can't believe it either.
I agree with you on that one. Don says, racing like every lap is the last. And absolutely right, Chris. I am surprised. Like, I know we are league owners. We try to be a little bit objective here, but I am surprised at the aggression level that we've seen tonight. I don't know if that's just kind of drivers coming thinking that they're going to be heroes and champions in race 1.
Well, I really like.
Go ahead.
I really like the aggression. I like people being aggressive. I think the thing that I probably don't like is just not being in control of my car. I think that we could work on that a little bit, and maybe try to work on cars not wandering between lanes as much. Before we get to Talladega.
Yeah, Talladega later on in the season. You thought this was crazy, but I think we'll probably have a lot of these kinks ironed out, a lot of these wrinkles ironed out before we get to Talladega later on in the second half of the season. But like you mentioned, car control is important, and if you don't have it here, it's going to be a tough day, and we've seen that tough day kind of materialize for several drivers. The most recent being Ryan Hinkle, as well as Paul Thomas and a couple others caught up in that lap number 54. Right, Chris, I couldn't tell you the longest green flag we've had today, the longest green flag run. I think we've gone maybe 6 laps green. Looking in the chat right now, Justin Wilson, why are my Payday Racing boys not leading? Gonna have to rethink their contracts. Boss man not happy with the performance for the Payday drivers. Reevaluate him, Justin. Let him know who's boss.
Yeah, well, Justin's going to be paying a lot of fabrication bills after this one right here because, oh boy, it's not looking too good out here right now.
Those 6 Payday Purple and Payday Green cars definitely have run into trouble tonight, and the Payday is not going to be as big as they were probably hoping going into this race. We got a Patrick O'Toole fan. I've seen a couple Patrick O'Toole fans probably be a little bit disappointed to see that Patrick has been involved in a couple of wrecks over the course of the evening. He is running 34th, but Chris, he's still trucking along 2 laps down based on the numbers I'm seeing here on my scoring pylon.
Yeah, I think he's actually 19 laps down. I think that he's 2 laps behind.
You are right. You are. My apologies. 19 laps down. I made that sound a lot better. Patrick probably got excited for a second if he was listening.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, he's one of many that's been caught up in some incidents tonight. But, we're going to get a restart here with, looks like with 23 to go. And, the teammates are starting side by side here. And I'll be curious to see if somebody wants to employ the strategy that I mentioned before, of trying very, very hard to, separate these guys. Scotty Sobzak, I don't see any teammates of his up here at the front. Daniel Rowe, I don't see any teammates of his either up here at the front.
Tony Hilbrens is back in 23rd. He's looking like he's the next to last car on the lead lap. Steve Ulrich sitting back there in 16th. Scotty Sobzak probably not
13th here. I think he's probably his closest friend, but
81 just doesn't have the help that he's probably going to need. At least right now. Obviously, there's going to be 27 laps to go when we take this green flag. 27 laps left in this race, but yeah, you'll want to be dancing with a partner as these laps wind down here at Daytona.
It's been a potent combination all night. You see what can happen if you've got two guys who are really, really good at drafting, and both of them are very good. They're both very good at controlling the lanes, and they're both also really good at pushing without getting cars out of shape. So this has been a really good combination all night, and we'll see if they can make it last until the end.
Yeah, Stan Hausman says, what happened to the 11? Chris Darlin has been involved in a couple of crashes. He is still on the lead lap. I believe he's actually 12 laps down. My apologies. But right now, Steve Karosik leading him down to the green. His teammate, Zach Lima, to his outside. Scotty Sobzak in third. Dan Rowe in fourth. Teammates side by side for the lead as they head down into turn one now on lap 57 of 80. Sobzak pushing Karosik past his teammate. Karosik going to jump up. That's probably no surprise. Dan Rowe's going to be pushing that 81. The leaders top four, 2 by 2. Jacob Chase in fifth. He's got Wesley Pistol and James Suggs to his outside. Chris Blassie sitting there back in the 8th position. Jeremy Gardner to his outside. Those are your top 8 or 9 right now, and it's really hard to differentiate between them because, as we mentioned all night, these guys are so close, Chris.
Yeah, the 26. Aggressive side draft right there on the side of Scotty Sobzak. Trying to do what he can to pull him back and pull him away from the 72. 72 of Karosik is trying to control the race again. Oh, no, they made contact.
And Lima going to make contact. They're going to collect Dan Rowe. Another big one, 6 or 7, maybe more now, cars involved in this lap number 58 crash, Chris. I see Rye Jones, Zach Lima, one of the leaders, taken out, Wesley Pistol, Patrick Colby. Chris, I think that might have collected all but 5 or 6 cars.
They've been working on them all night, seeing how many of them they can get. And
I think they're probably going to run out of mechanics before this race over. Hype Dad rooting for Jeremy Gardner just got in the chat saying it's hammer time for the number 5, and unfortunately, the tear emoji came next for Hype Dad. Hype Dad, we are sorry. As I laugh to keep from crying right now like you, but as we watch this replay, Chris, you had mentioned this brewing kind of literally half a lap before it happened. The 26 running the 81 really tight, and we've seen it all night. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's just risk versus reward. How tight do you want to run on somebody? We'll see if we can actually ride on board with Daniel Rowe here. Daniel Rowe was right behind all this, and I think he probably has the best perspective of this. We'll rewind it just a little bit. So you got Scotty Sobzak up ahead in the 81, 26 of Zachary Lima there. Yeah, and it looks like the 81 might have made a slight move, like high there, but the 26 is running really, really close, so he can't really make that move out. And yeah, so the 72, it might have been a situation where Scotty was reacting to the 72's movement. The 72 moved up high. It's not that Scotty made a really abrupt move, but he slightly moves up high, and the 26 is there just running really, really tight on his door. And, unfortunately, it's a lot of people involved there in that incident. So I hate it. I hate it that we've torn up so many cars here tonight.
Yeah, we really have, and I guess I'm just not sure where the I'm not sure where the urgency is coming, even on lap 60 of 80. We're 3/4 of the way through the race, but we've still got a quarter of the race left. I don't necessarily think there's a need for tight racing like we're seeing right now. And I know netcode's played a role in a couple of these crashes, but they're going to carry on. Several drivers have stayed out of trouble tonight. I'm just looking through the stats right now. Steve Karosik in that 72, Chris, he doesn't have a single incident point on the night. He is one of 2 drivers with no incident points tonight. Karosik and Jacob Bradley, who has managed to stay on the lead lap, Chris, by the way. We thought he was having connection problems earlier, but he's still there in 27th on the lead lap.
Yeah, he is. And, hopefully his connection issues are behind him, and these cautions have definitely worked in his favor, that's for sure.
100% worked in his favor. About a lap and a half away from the restart, Chris. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll hear from our friends over at Apex Energy and Sim Racing Concepts.
Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed.
We're back at Daytona, lap 61 of 80, just under 21 laps left in the Apex Energy 200 for the Slingshot Racing League Apex Energy Series season opener. We're about to go underway. Green one more time tonight. Steve Karosik is your leader. New second place runner, Jacob Chase, followed by the 18 of Jordan Ives with a good bit of damage. Patrick Piper in fourth. Karosik is your control car. He chooses the outside. He mashes down that throttle pedal. We're back underway at Daytona, not getting far enough out to clear the number 43 of Chase, who in that blue machine is going to be on the inside line as drivers go down into turn one. 72 is going to clear the 43. 43 cutting a little bit of slack there. Piper in third, but that's the only single file racing right now. Christopher Campbell in the 3 is in fourth position. Tony Hilbrun's, Jordan Ives, several cars back there looking like it is 3 wide.
Jordan Ives has a lot of damage and restarted up here near the front of the field, and the outside lane could not get going because of that, and so he is getting out of the way, being a good sportsman right there, as Tony Hilbrun's looking to get back up in the mix of things.
Several drivers trying to thread the needle there between themselves and the 18, the number 3 of Christopher Campbell. Sitting in fourth position, we got a fan watching the number 3, Randy Bechtel, 5th place. Justin Wilson talking about Payday Racing running in the back. Randy Bechtel's got that Payday machine up to the 5th position with the help of Johnny Rapp, his Payday teammate, pushing him from behind. Josh Ward, the 7th, 8th car in the inside line there in that blue and yellow machine. He's got, it looks like, the 49 of John Honecker to his outside in that silver Ford Mustang. Taking Tony Hilbrand's 3 wide there, that black and blue car in the middle. See if those cars can hang on to it. We've seen 3 wide be a little bit treacherous for several drivers tonight. And, man, that machine below them, the 6, Chris, is a little bit worse for wear. I don't think it's got a front end, but man, Steve McDonald putting that thing through the paces up to now 9th position in a race car that does not look like a race car anymore.
It doesn't, but luckily for Steve McDonald, the pace of the field has slowed way down because of all the damage out there. And so all the damaged cars around him has kind of been his saving grace. He's doing a nice job of trying to hold on. That car doesn't have quite the speed. He really needs these guys to get... He really needs these guys to be side by side, and it looks like they're getting that way.
Yeah, that 26, Zachary Lehman involved in the last crash on the inside. We talked about the danger of drivers trying to weave their way by a lap car on the inside. Several have to do that now.
Oh,
right
we got
now,
some contacts.
Karosik and Piper, the 9 and the 3. Chris, at this point, this just doesn't even surprise me what we're seeing out here.
Yeah, this is not... It's not been our proudest moment in Slingshot Racing League at all.
No, this is not what we've come accustomed to. We've talked about last season, past 2 seasons, average caution per race under 3. Yeah. And right now, we're just not seeing the level of respect that we're used to seeing from these guys. I know we've got 15 laps to go at Daytona, but this has kind of been the story of the night. So let's see if we can take a look as we watch the replay of what happened here. Is this just a bump gone wrong?
I don't think it's that. I think it's another situation of just not being able to hold a line. 38 so the 57 of Josh Ward is really, really tight. He's not super tight. He's not running really tight on him, but it looks like the 38 of Patrick Piper just wanders up the hill a little bit and kind of wanders into the path of the 57, and then unfortunately Patrick Colby, Chris Campbell involved, Tony Hilbrand's involved, 49 of Honecker involved, Ben Keast involved in this one too. So, man, a lot of cars involved. Really, really hate to see what we're seeing here with with all the cautions.
Yeah, Internet says, just got here, excited for the show. Well, man, it's been an exciting show. We appreciate you showing up in the Twitch chat. It has been an exciting show, maybe a little bit too exciting for my taste with the amount of cautions and damaged race cars we've seen out here at Daytona. We did say it's a 39-car field. 14 of these drivers are new, getting used to each other, learning the ropes a little bit, learning how to race against each other. Just not sure what's happening. We saw probably better racing. Christopher Darling says saw better racing in the Clash last week. He says this just sometimes happens. We appreciate the words of encouragement, Chris, and we do agree with you. In the moment, though, I feel for the guys racing because it has been treacherous out here. It'll get worked out, but right now, Steve Karosik is your leader. Jacob Chase still maintained that 2nd spot. Randy Bechtel, Chris, up to 3rd position. The Payday drivers are lurking. Johnny Rapp right behind him in 4th. Lee Campbell in 5th. Great run for that 14 going after some incidents earlier on in the race. Chris Blassie in 6th. Jacob Bradley up to 7th. Wesley Pistol, good run. A stat about Wesley Pistol that I was giving you earlier. 4 starts at Daytona in Slingshot Racing. 2 top 10s. He's led 34 laps, but he's yet to earn a top 5. Number 7 car of Wesley Pistol working on that tonight. Honecker sitting in the 9th position. James Suggs wandering down pit road, working on getting some damage repaired, getting back up to speed with the rest of the field. He's sitting in 10th. Nick DeCesare, an eventful first half of the race for that 00 Sunoco car. He's about to get into the top 10 with a little bit of luck. Tony Caputo running 12th. Stephen McDonald in that battered and bruised number 6 car In 13th, Josh Ward, we mentioned him, just involved in that last caution on lap 64. He's 14th. Scotty Sobzak staying out of trouble for the time being in 16th. Jordan Ives in 15th. My apologies. The ticker's changing on me as I speak. James Danforth in 16th. Tony Hilbrun's in 18th. Steve Ulrich in 20th. Patrick Colby involved in that last incident, coming off of pit road with several other cars. His teammate Steve Ulrich in front of him. Zachary Lima involved in a wreck a couple of cautions ago in 22nd. Those are your lead lap cars. 22 cars in the lead lap, Chris, you mentioned it. Still a lot of time. About the restart's going to come with about 13 laps to go. Obviously, a lot of time for a lot to happen. But 22 cars still, in theory, have a chance to win the race. And we mentioned earlier, almost not a single car on the track does not have an incident point tonight. The only car to have 0 incidents, Steve Karosik and Jacob Bradley.
I was about to say, I didn't see a scratch on either the 72 or the 60. And, man, Jacob Bradley's probably considering himself very lucky that he was gone for a couple laps, came back. He probably missed a lot of mayhem in those couple laps, and riding around, got his laps back, with all the cautions we've had, and he's sitting up there, and he's got a couple teammates up there. He's got Randy Bechtel and Johnny Rapp. When we're looking at teams, that's certainly one team that's up there that they might be able to mount a charge here with Karosik losing his partner.
Yeah, Payday definitely going to make some noise here, it looks like, in the closing stage of the Apex Energy 200. Steve Hausman says, these cars are starting to look like modifieds. Absolutely. Definitely that number 6 of Steve McDonald definitely looks like a modified. Looks like we've got someone in the chat, Bama, rooting on the number 43 of Jacob Chase, who is your second place runner right now. Pace car peeling off of turn 4. Going to bring him down. Steve Karosik on the outside is your control car. He is the leader. He is going to be the first one to mash the throttle as these drivers head into the Geico restart zone to bring them back to green. We'll see when Karosik goes. He waits to the last minute, gets going. Might have waited a little bit there outside of the restart zone. That 72 has a throttle down. Chase on the inside. Randy Bechtel, Johnny Rapp side by side in 3rd and 4th position. Chris Blassie in 5th. Drivers head down into turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see right here if Randy Bechtel might be able to jump up in front of Johnny Rapp, or if he's going to push Jacob Chase. Looks like he's going to push Jacob Chase, try to clear that 72 of Karosik. Jacob Chase's car isn't damaged too bad either. A little bit of front end damage, so maybe it doesn't cut through the wind as good as the 72, but he's definitely fighting strong there on the inside with a good push from that 51.
Yeah, pushes up the track just a little bit. We mentioned that being something we're seeing from a lot of drivers tonight. Fortunately, we're able to stay out of trouble there. He's got to manage that lead. He's not going to be able to manage it on Karosik, though, who's going to jump to the outside. Right now, Bechtel still pushing that 43 across the line. Lap number 68 in the books here at Daytona. Wesley Pistol and Jacob Bradley looking to mount a charge. Pistol jumps back to the inside. Bradley is going to be stuck up on the outside. We'll see if that black and orange Payday machine of Johnny Rapp slips up to help his number 60 teammate.
I don't think that he will. I think that Johnny Rapp's damage is holding him back a little bit here. I don't think he's able to get very close to the back bumper of Karosik. I think he would have jumped up in front of Jacob Bradley if he had a little bit better car underneath him. We might see the 60 here jump down in front of the 52. Not sure, but I think that damage is hurting some of these cars out here.
Yeah, definitely. We see Lee Campbell getting a little squirrely down there on the inside, about 4 rows back. He's 3 wide with Johnny Rapp and Wesley Pistol on that orange and white machine. They've got, meanwhile, the 20 of James Suggs, who's looking like one of those modifieds that Daniel Berg or Steve Hausman mentioned in the chat. That 20 is coming up in about the 9th position for Suggs, not too far behind him. And John Honecker is in the 10th position.
Yeah, Jacob Bradley. Yeah, Jacob Bradley up here challenging for the lead. Nobody's working with the 72 of Karosik. Jacob Bradley's got all the help on the top. Jacob Chase has got all the help on the bottom, and nobody's working with the car who has dominated all this race.
These drivers, Chris, they smell blood in the water. Absolutely. They know that 26 is missing from the rear end of that 72, and they're going to take advantage of it. But how about the use of that side draft? He's going to jump in front of the 43. That was an aggressive move, but with about 10 laps to go, you got to do what you got to do, and he's going to do what he had to do to get down in front of the 43 and not get hung out to dry on that middle line like we've seen a handful of drivers do tonight.
A couple of things right there. Yeah, that was very impressive. He used the air to his benefit there. Side draft, brought that inside line back just a little bit. And also, you see the benefit of having a clean car. That car doesn't have any damage right there. It's got all of its fenders on it, no wrinkles, cuts through the wind better than almost all the other ones out there, except for that 60 of Jacob Bradley, who also does not have any damage. And it's no coincidence that he's leading the outside lane.
Absolutely. He's got the fastest car, one of two drivers not to be in an incident tonight. The driver, that number 60, is leading that outside line, like you mentioned, Chris. He's got the driver, the 7, Wesley Pistol, not too far behind, but Chris Blassie running the 5th position, making some noise. He's been in the top 10 much of the night, and his teammate, Lee Campbell, both from CNL Racing, bumper to bumper here, at least trying to get bumper to bumper. I'm not sure how close that 14 can get to the rear end of that 15. A little bit closer right now as they head down the backstretch into turn number 3. Leaders are single file, first through third. Jacob Bradley looking to change that as he looks to Randy Bechtel's outside. But as soon as I say that, Chris Blassie is going to try to push past the number 60 as they cross the start-finish line here in just a moment to complete lap number 72 of 88 laps left in the books here in the Apex Energy 200 for Slingshot Racing League. Drivers head down into 1.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jacob Bradley, it's just really hard to, it's just him and Wesley Pistol up there, and Johnny Rapp, he's trying his hardest. I guarantee you Johnny's got the throttle matched as hard as it'll go, but with all the damage, it's just hard it's hard to keep up, and it's just hard for these guys who have so much damage to get close to the guys in front of them now.
Yeah, really doing the best they can, but you are starting to see the war of attrition kind of play out here. Those motors are just not turning the RPMs as we watch Scotty Sobczak, one of the guys who was pacing the field early on, get to the inside here and let those cars go by. Another one of those modified cars.
They're getting organized now. They're getting much more organized. The 68 closer to the 52, the 52 closer to the 7. They're getting closer together here.
A little bit loose. Chris Blassie and Lee Campbell stay out of trouble. They're about 5 rows back, but as you mentioned, this outside row gaining some steam. We said more cars equals more energy. We're seeing this play out on the top. Down the backstretch, the 7. Oh, we got a crash. Looks like the 42 of Tony Caputo gonna go through the backstretch grass. They stay off the racing line, Chris. I don't think we're going to see a caution for that on lap 74. We stay green. 72 looks to the outside of the 60. 60 thought about making a move to block that, but they're not. They're going to have to go by Zachary Lima here across the start-finish line. Looks like the 72 of Karosik not going to be able to clear the 60 of Jacob Bradley on the inside. Karosik's got the help of Pistol. Bradley's got the help of Jacob Chase there on the inside. Randy Bechtel third in line on the inside. Johnny Rapp third in line on the outside. James Suggs making some noise. 4th car on the inside, Chris. I don't know which line is better at this point. We've got 2 clean cars. As you mentioned, the 2 cleanest cars in the field are pacing the field right now. Up front with just 5 laps to go coming here at the line.
Yeah, it's just going to be all about who can get the best help here, who's going to put themselves in the best position. Jacob Chase doing a really nice job, tucked up real close to the back bumper of Jacob Bradley. We'll see how this plays out. We see a lot of those cars that I thought that were damaged, that were hanging way back, that I don't know if it's the energy that's in the pack has kind of brought them, a little bit closer, and let them run closer together, or if they finally decided that, it's time to let it rip as, the 43 of Chase, a little bit loose there on the inside. A little bit
loose through that corner in turns 2. Right now, double file down the backstretch, really about 7 rows back. First 14 cars on the lead lap, racing here now with just 5 to go left in the Apex Energy 200. Karosik and Bradley are your leaders side by side. Karosik doesn't quite have the help organized behind him that he did earlier. Bradley's got the advantage with Chase Bechtel, Suggs, and Blassie all lined up behind him on the inside line. As we say that, Johnny Rapp in the 52, not quite as fast with that damage, but closing the gap on Pistol on the outside there. They head down into turn 1. 4 laps to go, Chris. The intensity is picking up. We'll see if we can stay green the rest of the way, but hey, you can stick a sheet of paper between these cars right now. They are so close, and it is not going to change over the course of these final 3.5 laps. Chase pushes Bradley on the inside. Pistol is the dancing partner of Korosik on the outside. They make their way by a lap car down the inside of Ryan Hinkle, coming to go 3 to go here at Daytona. Bradley looks to push clear of Korosik with a little bit of help from Jacob Chase. I think he's clear, maybe not. They come up on the lap car of Tony Caputo, who is to the outside. They're going to snake their way around Tony Caputo. Caution is out, but I'm not sure for what. Matt Kuntz, potentially. Let's see if we can take a look at this replay and figure out what happened to the 13. Seeing Matt Kuntz, Ryan Hinkle,
yeah, I don't see
Steve
anything.
Korosik.
I don't see anything that happened to him.
Not sure what happened there.
Don't see anything that happened to any of those guys. We'll go back to our
James Danforth, maybe. James Danforth and Jordan Ives is what I'm seeing on my scoring screen. So it might be the 77, or not 77, the 88 or the 18. Bear with us a moment. We're just working out some of these replay kinks, trying to find out where this happened way further back in the pack, away from what we were watching with just a couple laps to go.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break.
We're going to hear from our partners at UD Awards, who are making the championship trophy that one of these drivers is going to take home at the end of this 15-race season. We'll be back on the other end with a replay of what happened.
How do we get these one-of-a-kind amazing trophies? Well, we were fortunate to find UD Awards when we started our league. We reached out and we connected with Christopher, and we got started designing these one-of-a-kind works of art. The process was easy from start to finish. After just a few revisions, we finalized each one of them, and the team at UD got to work building each trophy from scratch. They're a small team, but they've got the ability to do just about anything your brain can imagine. And don't worry, if you're not an artist, they've got an entire catalog of unique trophies in pretty much any material you can imagine. Wood, acrylic, glass, and in the case of last season's trophy, metal. The best part, they're affordable. If you're looking for a trophy for your event or league, the choice is simple. UD Awards can give you exactly what you want.
Hey, that championship trophy is going to look great on one of the bookshelves of one of these drivers here on the lead lap. We're setting ourselves up for a green-white checker 2-lap shootout in the season opener for the Apex Energy Series. If you're just joining us, we appreciate it on chat and the Twitch, the YouTube, Facebook, all the folks participating in the chat. It's been a lively chat tonight. And one thing I do want to mention for our chatters, we mentioned it last week in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash, but we got a prize for our #1 fan this season. We gave it away last season. We're doing it again thanks with the help of Apex Energy this season. We've got the #1 fan award. Each race, we're going to be tracking the chat to see who is the most active across YouTube and Twitch. And at the end of the season, we're going to be choosing a fan of the season. We're going to give them a 1-month supply of Apex Energy to continue to energize them headed into our next season. So If you are in the chat, we appreciate you. Keep on chatting away. Let us know what driver you think is going to win on this 2-lap shootout coming up here as we get ready to set it up. But looking at a couple cars in the pit right now, these drivers are probably not going to be one of the ones that win tonight. We look at that Apex Energy car of Chris Pierce, involved in a couple incidents earlier in the race. Great looking car, not going to get the finish we'd want for Apex tonight. But go ahead, if you are in the chat, let us know. Hype Dad says, #1 fan award. Say no more. Absolutely. We'll be keeping an eye on you, Hype Dad. You made it pretty hype tonight, so we appreciate you right now setting the scene for the final 2 laps of this race. Chris, it's felt like it's an eternity to get here, but we are getting there. Jacob Bradley is your leader. Steve Karosik in second. Those cars are the cleanest cars all night. No incident points for those guys. Jacob Chase, been running the top 5 for the past 10 or 15 laps in third. Wesley Pistol, we mentioned no top 5s in 4 starts, now 5 starts at Daytona for Pistol. He's looking to change that tonight. Randy Bechtel running in 5th. James Suggs, good bit of damage on that number 20. He is in 6th. Johnny Rapp in 7th. Chris Blassie, great run for Chris so far tonight. He is in 8th. Daniel Rowe in the 68, sitting in 9th position. Patrick Colby is in 10th. Lee Campbell, 11th. John Honecker, 12th. Nick DeCesare, 13th. The rest of those names, I think we're actually having some ticker problems, so they're not going to scroll by. Tony Caputo is 14th. Steve McDonald is 15th. That is your top 15. All of these drivers going to have a chance to win here tonight, Chris. I suspect we're about to see some crazy stuff happen as these drivers make their way down the backstretch, getting set up for what we hope will be a final restart. Don Hilbrun says it's going to be a few interesting laps. Let's go. I think I agree with you, Don. Interesting is a great way of putting what I can expect to see here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, yeah, it's... I guess at this point, you know, we do have some sets of teammates here, but I think your friends at this point are where you find them. I think that you got to go with the person that presents you with the best chance to either win or get the best possible finish that you can get.
Yeah, we mentioned teammates pushing. Steve Karosik's teammate, Zach Lima, not up here right now. Jacob Bradley's closest teammate is 5th with Randy Bechtel. Johnny Rapp running in the 7th position. Not too far back. We'll see if they can catch up and help that driver, the 60 right now. He is your control car on the restart as these drivers head into the Geico restart zone. 2 laps to go in the Apex Energy 200. 48 hits the boot down on the throttle. He gets going. Bradley going to clear Karosik, who's going to jump down in front of the 3rd place car of Jacob Chase. First double file battle is back in 4th between Randy Bechtel and Wesley Pistol. About a lap and 3/4 to go. Karosik on the back bumper of that number 60 of Jacob Bradley, doing all he can do to put the pressure on that low Chevrolet. Jacob Chase, though, Chris, lulling back a little bit, looking to see if he's going to be able to get a run with the help of that driver of the 51, Randy Bechtel. Are these guys too far out right now? Crash on the backstretch. We'll see if caution is going to come out. That is a caution. Race will not finish under yellow. The drivers did not take the white flag, so we are going to re-rack them here. Driver's going to come back around. We're going to take another shot at it, but in the meantime, we're going to take a look, see if we can figure out what happened here on lap number 82 of 84.
Yep, contact between the 9 of Patrick Colby and it looked like the 20 of James Suggs. We'll see if we can get focused in on James Suggs right there, since that was the point of contact right there. We'll see if we can look at that from overhead and get a good...
That 00 took quite the ride through the infield. Nick DeCesare kind of been up and down tonight as we watch this replay, so we can see what happened between the 20 and the 9.
Yeah, we'll see if we can actually see it from a little bit better perspective.
9 jumps to the outside a little bit of the 20.
Yeah, you know, he's trying to make a pass here, coming to the checkered flag, goes high, and yeah, a little bit of netcode, involved, and yeah, they come together, and yeah, luckily. No more got involved than what they did. I mentioned the 00 of Nick DeCesare. He went through the grass. His trip through the grass was not as eventful as Ryan Precis was on Saturday night. But yeah, Made it through.
No
just
barrel
fine.
rolls for the 00. And we mentioned this will be the final attempt at a green-white checkered. Chris, we've got 2 attempts in each race. We just hit our first one. This next one's going to be the second one. This will be it. So essentially what I believe, just to set things up to talk about potential scenarios, as Daniel Berg asked, what's the total wrecks in this race? Daniel, I wish I knew, but I don't have a count for you, buddy.
Actually,
Trying to erase it.
we don't
Do
want
you
to
have
talk
a
about
count
it.
going?
We don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see my therapist after this race. So, but what is potentially going to happen? Let's walk through. The drivers are going to come to the green flag here. Bradley, Karosik, Chase, Bechtel, and Rapp and Rowe going to come to the green flag, and if the yellow comes out before the white flag, it will come out, and that will end the race. However, if my knowledge is correct, which it might not be, if we take the white and a caution, in theory, were to come out, the yellow will not wave and the drivers will race back to the checkered flag. Is that correct as we watch Jacob Bradley here on board, kind of getting ready for this final restart?
Yeah, that's right. So when the white flag comes out and there's a crash on the last lap, there is no caution in iRacing. So we'll keep on rolling. We'll keep on going to the checkered flag, and we'll see what happens. So let's hope, fingers crossed right here, I believe in our slingshot drivers that we can at least make it to the white flag before we start crashing. I believe in them. I believe that we can do it. I think that, these 2 cars right up here at the front are really clean. It's going to depend on the push right here. Jacob Bradley is the control car, and Randy Bechtel is restarting 4th. I wonder if there's going to be I wonder if Jacob is going to take the top here and then do like a little bit of a teammate restart here. Do a little bit of a communication as to, when they're going to get on the gas. If they can lock bumpers together, that might be all Jacob Bradley needs to get out to the lead here.
I think you're absolutely right. We know that they're in a team channel right now. There is most likely communication going on between those 2 guys, and they are on the same Payday Racing team. We've got 2 Paydays, Payday Racing Purple, Payday Racing Green. Bechtel and Bradley are both Payday Racing Purple. So they are working together to accrue points for that Payday Racing Purple team. So we'll see how much of a factor that plays. I know the team championship is important, but a win at Daytona might be even more important for these guys. So we'll see if that teamwork goes out the window as soon as they communicate on when they're going and taking the green flag here. Looking like we're probably going to get the 1 to go, hopefully, as the pace car comes through the tri-oval.
Yeah, pace car right now. Pace car right now coming off of turn 2. Jacob Bradley is the control car, and he did take the top. So it's gonna be interesting here to see what transpires here. Like I said, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can make it to that white flag at least before we start wrecking, because we don't want to see a finish under caution.
And no, our preference would be, if any of the drivers can hear us, just wait to do the wrecking after we take the white flag. Do us all a courtesy. Let us see that finish under green right now. You mentioned Steve Karosik finished 3rd in the Clash last week. He had a dancing partner much of the night tonight with Zach Lima, who got caught up, unfortunately, in a wreck several cautions ago, so he's on his own. But you mentioned those 2 Payday teammates on the outside. Jacob Chase right now, kind of a man on an island. He does not have any teammates he's running with anywhere near him. He's sitting in 3rd position. Johnny Rapp, another Payday driver. Daniel Rowe without a teammate. Chris Blassie has his teammate Lee Campbell behind him, but I'm just not convinced they've got enough time with 2 or less laps left to do anything. Right now, pace car is going to peel off for what will be the very last time guaranteed. Bradley is your control car. He's got his teammate Bechtel behind him, and you can definitely see, Chris, the communication. They get a much better jump on the field. They're going to pull away from Daniel Rowe, but that might actually hurt them right now, because that 72 is sucking a little bit of air off the 51. Bradley is on his own. He doesn't have the help of the Payday driver Randy Bechtel anymore. This is looking like it's going to be a 2-man shootout. Bradley and Karosik head out of turn 2 onto the backstretch. 2 laps to go now, 1.5.
And with our cautions here, if you're Steve Karosik, I don't think that you can wait till the last second. I think that you got to be worried about a caution coming out. So
3 wide back there,
yeah,
back
deep in the
20th
field
place or so. He's going to wait, though. Drivers head down into turn 3. I'm watching now 4 wide, almost a caution. Can we just make it back around to the white flag? I see a caution. I don't know if it's going to come out. White flag is out on the track. We are going to take...
Nope, caution. Caution waved right
Bradley
before they got the line.
will win it. Caution is out. I think Bradley's going to claim the victory here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're going to have to wait on the caution car, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Wanted to, that's great for Jacob Bradley, but
yeah, congratulations to the driver of that number 6 as we see the pace car catch up. But yeah, we didn't get that green flag finish that we were hoping for.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting coming to the line right there. And yeah, what a great, what a heck of a 2 weeks here for Steve Karosik in, his slingshot debut. Ran so well, won the Clash last week, and here he is this week. Ran great all night. And Jacob Bradley, what a recovery from him, to battle back and, from his adversity that he had all night. So great job by him. Great job by a lot of drivers who were involved in wrecks and powered their way through.
Yeah, a lot of attrition tonight. We expected that would be the case at Daytona. It is what it is at this point. A lot of bent sheet metal. I saw that comment in the chat a handful of times. Congratulations to Jacob Bradley, Steve Karosik, Grady Bechtel going to bring that 3rd home. Great day for payday racing. Jacob Chase brings home that 4th place finish. And I believe drivers are going to be coming to the checkered flag as the pace car gets ready to roll through the tri-oval here. Bradley getting a little bit of a friendly push from Steve Karosik in that number 72. Jacob Bradley is going to be your winner here at Daytona, claiming the Apex Energy 200.
And he's not going to waste any time.
A little bit of contact there from Steve Karosik. I think that was probably friendly, yeah? Maybe?
Oh, no, that was Randy Bechtel. Yeah, that was
Oh,
definitely
that was
friendly.
Randy. Okay,
Yeah,
that was Randy. My
yeah.
bad. I got those black and red cars confused just a little bit. So,
Yep.
all right. Well, man, exciting finish. We're going to hear from our top 3 drivers in just a minute. We're going to try to get these guys into the broadcast booth, so bear with us a minute. We're going to hear from Randy Bechtel first. We get him pulled in here. Brady Bechtel, Ellis, and Chris up in the Slingshot TV broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, that was definitely something. First of all, congratulations on that 3rd place finish. Talk to us a little bit. You made your way up through the field. Justin Wilson was in the chat earlier, your boss man. Not really the boss man, but complaining that you guys weren't running up front. You made your way through the field as the race went on. Talk to us a little bit about your experience working your way through the field, what you observed, and how you kind of got up there over the course of those 80 laps.
Well, the race started off good. We got the pole, which I'm assuming Justin missed the record.
He definitely missed it. So I had like
almost 2 minutes of damage trying to get that through two caution periods fixed. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that it got back up here, but all the cars wrecking I don't think there's one car that doesn't have damage.
We had 2 cars that did not have incident points by the end of the race, and that was Steve and Jacob Bradley.
Yeah, I don't know if people were just super aggressive or side draft. I was trying to be conservative all race and still getting into wrecks. So.
Did you experience kind of just your vision and in terms of what you were seeing as you were driving? Did you see a lot of kind of aggressive racing in and around you?
Oh yeah, there was definitely some, especially at the front. I don't know what happened in the back. There's definitely side drafting going on in the corners, the outside lane. So I'm assuming that contributed to a lot of issues during the race.
Yeah, we definitely had some issues, but hey, man, you fought your way through it. Congratulations. You won a bit of a war of attrition, so great job for that. You finished third. Before we let you go tonight, you got any shout-outs?
I want to thank all my teammates, Payday Purple and Payday Green. Our boss man, Justin Wilson, if he's still listening out there. Of course, all the Slingshot sponsors. I will get that list down eventually. Not like last season.
You're going to be on the podium enough, and you have been. You're going to get it. We believe in you.
Yeah, of course, you guys for putting on the league and broadcasting.
Hey, man, we appreciate you. Congratulations on earning Payday some team championship points. We'll be keeping an eye on those point standings throughout the season. Randy Bechtel, everyone, congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so we heard from Randy Bechtel. We're going to pull in Steve Karosik, your second-place finisher, and hear kind of what he experienced tonight. Looking for him in the chat. There he is. Kind of to move him up. Give me a second. Discord could be a little finicky sometimes. Man. There we go.
Steve Karosik, second place finisher. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Hey, I got you.
Hey, man, what a heck of a 2 weeks you've had to start off this season. Last week in the preseason clash, and then this week tonight, man, you and your teammate, Zachary Lima, you guys were up near the front all night, dominating the action. Talk us through your night. How did you see it from your perspective?
Yeah, for the most part, it was a good night. I was able to stay clean. I thought the racing was good. The refs were never really around me. And, the competition was good, and I was hoping to get some longer green flag runs and get some good racing in. But, sometimes we just get the caution filled once, but it was still a good race.
Yeah, we hated to see all those yellows, but you and your teammate, man, you guys were y'all were a potent combination out there. Was the goal basically just to try to control the race, control the lane that had all the energy in it?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Really, we just wanted to stay up front because we felt that was the safest place, and why not just try and do it all race if we can? It's a lot of work, but it's fun. And I feel bad for Lima. It stinks that he got taken out. It's like someone slipped up off the bottom in the second lane and got him. And his race was done from there. He could never recover. So I wish I had him at the end. And, congratulations to Jacob. And I wish it went green. We had to go about 100 more foot. And we would have had that last lap.
I know.
My sleeve.
I was watching it off the corner, and I was just hoping that it didn't come out, and it sure as hell when as soon as y'all were getting ready to cross the line, right when it came out.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Like I said, we wanted to see a green flag finish just as much as you did. But, hey, man, you had a great run. You were up front all night, led a lot of laps. Any shout-outs that you want to give before we let you go here?
Yeah, just shout out to Zach, my teammate, and shout out to Slingshot. This is my first season with them. Looks like it's going to be a good one.
We promise it'll get better. We promise.
Yeah, it's super speedway. It's a wild card, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Shout out to you guys. About to watch the broadcast here in a few minutes. And shout out to Daisy. I hope you guys have a good night. I'll see you next week. I'll be trying to keep up. I think the roles are going to be reversed.
Hey, we'll be on the lookout for you, man. Congratulations.
Congratulations, bud.
Thanks.
Chris, sorry about that. I moved you away. I thought I was moving Steve, and I moved you. Give me
That's
1
all
second.
good.
Okay, he moved himself. So let's go ahead and pull in your winner, Jacob Bradley. into the broadcast booth. Jacob Bradley, it's Ellis and Chris up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, first of all, congratulations. Welcome back to Victory Lane. You are having quite the season, including the preseason warm-up races. You're finding yourself back in Victory Lane. Good job tonight. You started, I believe, 6th on the field. Didn't have far to go. We saw you had some issues earlier on in the race. We couldn't quite figure out what happened. We thought you might have had connection issues initially. What kind of put you back there early on in the race?
So over the summer, I switched internet service providers, and I haven't had an issue with them this entire time. And randomly, I got a quick drop, and then it like reconnected. I reconnected into the field, and I was 2 laps down. Ooh. And I got 2 lucky dogs, and just drove back through the field. And that was a really wild race. Never thought I would win a super speedway.
Yeah, testament to the idea of never give up, right? You were 2 laps down. You got those 2 lucky dogs on one of several cautions that we had over the course of the evening. Talk to us a little bit about how these cars handled out there. We saw several cars kind of getting loose up off the bottom, not able to keep a straight line. We saw a lot of side drafting, kind of tight racing. What were you kind of experiencing as you were working your way up through the field?
I was kind of stale, but I took tires most of the time. When you didn't take tires, it was really hard to see, and you would bounce it off the apron if you're on the bottom, so it started to wash up, and then you'd lose some handling up there. I'm sure that was probably a factor, somebody pushing and somebody getting loose up front. That's just a product of it at one of these big plate tracks.
Yeah, it was. We definitely saw several incidents. Saw some netcode tonight as well, so we had some incidents, but not all of them, were solely blamed on drivers. So you were able to stay out of most of the trouble, though. So congratulations to you on that. We're headed to Auto Club next week. 2-mile track. Definitely not a super speedway, but still has got some speed. What do you kind of expect to see next week out of the entire field, but also yourself and your payday teammates?
I'm thinking for overall with the field, we're going to be pretty fast early, and the tire wear is going to kind of eat at the tires, and then we're going to be pretty slow at the end. You're going to see a lot of people tire saving, a couple comers and goers. I expect me and Randy, we're probably going to be up front. Randy's really good at saving tires, so probably have to take a couple notes from him this week and see if we can come back. I won Michigan in the preliminary races, pretty similar.
Yeah, well, study up, my friend. We'll hit Auto Club next week. You got any shout-outs before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, I want to thank my parents for watching and my payday racing teammates. Great team behind me.
Hey, man. Go out there and celebrate. We will see you next week at Auto Club. Have a good night, Jacob Bradley.
You do.
Thank you. All right, so you heard from your 3 podium finishers there, including just a moment ago, Jacob Bradley, your winner. He is going to claim the top spot in the Apex Energy Series point standings after race 1 here at Daytona. Chris, just walking through the finishing order real quick, you'll see that a lot of cars were a lot of laps down. I think we finished with 18 cars on the lead lap as we kind of scroll through where these drivers finished. We mentioned Daniel Rowe. He ran up front most of the night, brought home a 7th place finish. Johnny Rapp with some damage brought home a 5th place finish. Jacob Chase ran up front most of the final 20 laps of the race, finishes 4th. Wesley Pistol clocked a top 10, adding to his 2 top 10s he already had at Daytona and Slingshot Racing League. Look at Chris Blassie over there in 6th position, Chris. I continue to be impressed by the improvement that Chris Blassie has made over the course of the past 3 seasons. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. He was up front a lot of the night. Mostly saw him on the bottom lane, but he was, the 3rd or 4th car most of the night, sometimes even higher than that. Plus 17 from where he started with a solid 6th place finish tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of drivers had really good finishes. James Danforth, after a lot of damage earlier on, brings home a top 10 finish. Lee Campbell sitting there 11th. Jeremy Gardner was a factor much of the night. The Clash winner finishes 12th. Stephen McDonald brings home that heavily damaged car to finish 13th. Further back through the field, some guys that we thought we would see running up front a little bit more. Rye Jones got involved in a wreck. Obviously, Zach Lima really running into issues after running 2nd and in the lead most of the evening. Scotty Sobzak Tony Hilbrun's, all guys who are running up there at the front of the race who just got caught up in incidents over the course of these 80 laps tonight. And you can scroll through the rest and see where your favorite driver finished. I know a lot of drivers are going to be looking for a better week and a rebound next week at Auto Club. We talked a little bit to Jacob Bradley, tonight's winner, about what we can expect there. Going to be a different type of race. You won't see quite the pack racing that you saw here at Daytona. I suspect we'll probably have a little bit cleaner of a race. Drivers maybe showing each other a little bit more patience, and the field getting a little bit further strung out. So that's what we can look for next week at Auto Club. I saw Internet in the chat a couple times. We appreciate him showing up later in the race. And we appreciate everyone showing up to the chat. This is the liveliest YouTube and Twitch chats we have had, particularly on YouTube over the past 2 seasons. You guys continue to make this a really exciting broadcast, bringing a lot of energy to it. And we couldn't appreciate it more, and we hope to see everyone back next week. And we'll be back same time, 8:30 Eastern time next week at Auto Club Speedway for race number 2 of the Apex Energy season. Chris, it's been a pleasure tonight. Let's go ahead and check out. Everyone, have a good night.